What's up, Misfit Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Matt the Misfit. Tonight we're going to go over Monday Night Raw for January the 16th, 2023 from Cincinnati, Ohio. Actually, a very, very good episode of Monday Night Raw. Probably better than last week. In my opinion, it is better than last week. You've seen a 6-man elimination match to determine the number one contender for not Seth Rollins, for Austin Theory's United States Championship for next week's Raw. We've seen more things with Uncle Howdy and Alexa Bliss. We've seen a new match announced for the Royal Rumble and Alexa Bliss challenging Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship. We also find out some more matches are happening next week. We've seen confirmed legends for next week, as well as when Cody Rhodes will be back, and we have found out tonight that he will be indeed going to the Royal Rumble, competing in the Men's Royal Rumble match to hopefully go on to win it and hopefully go on to dethrone Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. That and much, much more. If you like what you see here, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment down below, do all the social medias, which is Misfit Podcast TV on Twitter, Misfit Wrestling Pod on Instagram, Misfit Wrestling Podcast on Facebook, on youtube.com/@Misfit Wrestling Podcast, on the social media platforms, the other ones where you can listen to the podcast wherever you guys are at: Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, Google Podcasts, Pandora, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher Radio. And now that I got all that out of the way, first I want to get to something that happened earlier today. A little news, not big news, but there was a talent meeting earlier today for the Raw brand. Makes sense. They didn't have one on. They had one on SmackDown for the SmackDown roster. Might as well have for the Raw roster. Basically, the same thing was reiterated here that was thrown last week. Triple H is still in charge of creative for how long? Hopefully forever. But tonight did feel like a Triple H led show. Thank God. We've seen some other things happen. We've seen for the main event tapings NXT's Zoe Stark and Charlie Dempsey were up. Charlie Dempsey is, of course, William Regal's son. So we've seen that up on there as well. Nikki Cross posted a video on Twitter, seemingly still teasing that eventual SAnitY reunion. And since I want to talk about that real quick while I'm bringing that up. If I can find the quote here here it is, Alexander Wolfe, who was on the 10 Bell podcast. I believe that was the podcast he was on. Talking about him potentially returning to WWE in a potential SAnitY reunion. He says, "Is there room? I don't know. Is there an opportunity? Maybe." Because never say never in professional wrestling, not only in WWE, but in general. Never say never, but time will tell, I guess. So basically, he was being very coy about answering the question, the first question about the SAnitY reunion, maybe coming back to WWE. Almost like he knows something and he's not allowed to say. So who knows on that front as well. But we have Monday Night Raw here. Very fun episode of Monday Night Raw. I quite enjoyed it. We have a lot of things to discuss about here, but we're going to open with the Bloodline, who came out with the Raw and SmackDown Tag Team titles with Solo Sikoa minus Sami Zayn, which is very interesting. They come out. They talked about next week we'll have every generation of the Bloodline at Raw. He adds that they will also beat the Judgment Day for the Raw Tag Team titles to retain their championships. That was announced. That was also confirmed. Judgment Day will challenge the Usos for the Raw Tag Team titles next week. Judgment Day comes out. Rhea Ripley tells them to stop right there, because the only thing that Bloodline needs to acknowledge is the fact that Judgment Day runs Raw, which is technically true if you think about it. Balor says that they're coming for the Bloodline next week. Then thanks to Dominic Mysterio he thanks Dominic for filling in for him last week and winning the Tag Team Turbo match. Damian Priest tells Balor to take it easy in preparation for his match a little bit later on. Tells the Usos that the Raw tag titles are coming back to Raw full time. I hope some title comes back to Raw full time. He says that they never stepped to the Judgment Day because they're scared. Dominic says this. Dominic asks if they're afraid. Jimmy asks who are these? Who should they be? Who they should be scared of? Jay says that they've knocked down every team that stepped to them. Then says that they started to reign. Jay says that they started the reign by defeating Rey Mysterio and his father, Dominic Mysterio and his father rather. They welcome the Judgment Day to the Uso Penitentiary. Dominic tells the Usos that they wouldn't have last. Can't say with a straight face. Wouldn't last 1 minute in prison. They're telling this to two guys who have went to prison, mainly Jey Uso. Or no, it's Jimmy Uso. Mainly Jimmy Uso. So probably Jay. I don't know. Anyway, they call them wannabes. They say they're the biggest wannabe. They say Dominic is the biggest wannabe is Solo Sikoa. Solo doesn't do kindly to this. Stares down. Dominic gets in Solo's face, stares him down. Hits Solo. Dominic hits Solo with a forearm. Solo hits back with a headbutt. The Usos begin brawling with the rest of the Judgment Day. Solo and Rhea are left in the middle of the ring. Mustafa Ali comes out of nowhere, just flies onto Solo Sikoa to kick off their match, which was made official earlier in the day with Mustafa Ali challenging the Solo Sikoa. This match was all right, nothing too fancy about it. This is basically to show off a little bit more of Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa wins with the Samoan Spike for the win. Like I said, fight little match. Kevin Owens comes out here. Owens. Then after the match, this is after the match. Owens hit Solo with the stunner. Sends him to the steps. Clears the announce desk. Then lays Solo on top of it, getting ready to climb the barricade. Do the exact same thing that Solo did to him on SmackDown. The Usos got involved. Owens fights them off, tossing chairs at them, but the officials start running down and holds off Owens while the rest of the bloodline retreat to the back. So there's that set up. More stuff to set up for Royal Rumble, and a little thing attention to detail. I didn't notice this. Thanks to I'm thinking with C Wrestling who pointed this out here. That Kevin Owens grabbed Sammy's boot at the end of SmackDown last week, and I think Sammy acknowledged it. And I just love the little attention to details that Triple H has on the show. It's something Vince would never do. Getting ready for the eventual reunion of Owens and Sami Zayn, which is going to be beautiful stuff. This is the best. Again, this is the best storyline in all professional wrestling right now. And then we go backstage to Bobby Lashley, who's talking about he's the only almighty. Says that he'll make all 5 superstars tap to the Hurt Lock, which did not happen. He puts not Seth Rollins. He puts Austin Theory on notice and tells him that he will put him away for good, hopefully. Then we got a video package for Cody Rhodes announcing that he will be in the Royal Rumble match, which is the worst kept secret in all of wrestling. Everyone and their mother knew that he was going to be in the Royal Rumble. It was kind of not a secret at all. And we have back with Byron Sexton. He says he's trying to get word with Adam Pearce, but hasn't been able to due to various superstars pleading their case for the Royal Rumble. He introduces Elias and says that he's had one hell of a year. That's not accurate at all. That character Elias has been gone for like most of the year. He says his vengeance tour begins now. MVP walks out of Adam Pearce's office and tells Elias not to go talk to Pierce because the winner is a deal done. The winner is a done deal. I don't think he was talking about Cody Rhodes. Elias challenges that notion and says that he hasn't been more relevant in years. I've talked about MVP not being relevant for years. MVP says if he keeps talking like that, he'll get a match with the winner of the 2023 Rumble winner, and Elias accepts the challenge. Next up, we got the Street Profits defeating Shelton Benjamin and Alexander, and I almost said Alexander Wolfe. Cedric Alexander teasing more of that Hurt Business reunion. The winners, Street Profits, win the match here after Dawkins reverses the fall for a win after a pin that Alexander was trying to set on Dawkins, which was a distraction from MVP. So after the match, Alexander and Benjamin start arguing with MVP. Again, setting up the tone for the eventual reunion with the Hurt Business, and I can't wait for that. Well, I mean, I can wait for it, but you know, I'm convinced that this Hurt Business thing is only so Brock Lesnar can murder them next week at the Rumble. That's why I just think here. Kelly, I'm gonna say Kelly. God forbid. Kathy Kelly interviews the Judgment Day backstage. Asks Finn Balor how he feels about heading into his match. Later in the night, says if there's anyone or if anyone's ready for the match, it's him. Alpha Academy walk in. Judgment Day. Bayley snuck past them. Or he says Judgment Day barely snuck past them. Rhea tells Gable not to make her do something she doesn't regret. They basically challenge Alpha Academy to a match later on tonight. Next up, we got Becky Lynch coming out here. The man. This was a great segment here. She asks Bayley what she's doing before Damage Control interrupts Becky Lynch. Bayley rags on Becky and says that she must have been forgotten her name because she's Bayley. She's not a Karen. Becky tells her she is a Karen, not that she's forgotten her name. Bayley tells Becky that the gist of this is Becky goes on to the whole thing with NXT that in 2015 Becky, Charlotte, and Sasha were called up while Bayley was left behind because she wanted to be the top star in NXT and whatnot. And Becky talking about her rise to the top. Bayley comes out and says now she would be nobody if she didn't get punched in the face by another woman. Lynch says that she should punch Bayley right now and ask if she's going to keep hiding behind Dakota Kai and Io Sky. Becky asks Bayley if she has a problem with her facing her in a steel cage at Raw next week. Bayley hesitates and says she has no problem. This was also after Bayley had said she didn't need them then and she didn't need them now. And I could have sworn, now this is me, I could have sworn both Io and Dakota, mainly Io, being like, what'd she say about me? You don't need me. This is what I took from that. So we may get a eventual split. Hopefully, because her with Bayley's kind of holding Io down, if I'm being completely honest here. So we got Bayley versus Becky Lynch in a steel cage match next week, I believe. This is the first steel cage match in a while on Monday Night Raw, so that should be fun. Next up, we got Dolph Ziggler backstage with Mustafa Ali and sarcastically congratulates him. He sarcastically congratulates him and then asks if he enjoys opportunities being handed to him. Ziggler says he should know better than anything than nothing. It just is headed out. Ali loses his temper and clocks him. So we didn't see Mustafa Ali for the rest of the night after that. He just hits Ziggler and just walks and nothing happens. Next up, we got MVP heading out of the ring as Elias waits for his opponent. MVP says that Elias seems confused about this communication breakdown, nice Led Zeppelin reference there. He says that he won't be facing him tonight, but he'll be facing the 2023 Royal Rumble winner. oh, oh God. The 2023 Rumble winner. Oh my. I can't. I can't say that with a straight face. I can't say it. I can't. I can't say this. Omos was out here, and I'm done talking about Omos. Moving on. Backstage. Byron Saxton, Adam Pearce talks about something. Adam Pearce goes on, puts over Raw 30 before Akira Tozawa comes in and asks for a death wish. And he is granted a death wish because he'll get it in the form of Bronson Reed a little bit later on tonight. So we got Damage, not Damage Control. We have Judgment Day, Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio taking on Alpha Academy. This was actually a really fun match. Judgment Day wins, obviously, off of a distraction again, with Rhea distracting the referee, allowing Priest to hit South of the Heaven on Chad Gable for Dominic to pick up the win after Dominic is having a knee injury from the ankle lock. We had a video honoring Martin Luther King on Martin Luther King Day. Next up, we had Io Sky versus Mia Yim with Candice LeRae at Mia Yim's side and Dakota Kai on with Io Sky. Io Sky, again, great professional wrestler. This was all right match. Not Io's best performance here, but Mia Yim wins after a distraction, another distraction. Eat the defeat win for the win. After the match, Dakota Kai attacks Mia Yim, but Candice LeRae comes in for the save. And while the referee, and this is actually very good, very, very good attention to detail here. While they're while the ring announcer, or while while Corey and Kevin Patrick are talking in the back, in the crowd is Nikki Cross watching on. Again, they're brewing something with Nikki Cross and Candice LeRae. I guess they're waiting for what's his face, Johnny Gargano to come back. So we'll see what happens there. Next up, we got a video package recapping what happened last week between Alexa Bliss and Bianca Belair. Or no, the match between Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss. Also, what happened last week with Uncle Howdy. We had Belair come out here. Basically, Vince McMahon her way into a championship title defense against Bayley, not Bayley, against Bliss. Bliss said yes. They start brawling all the way to the back, all the way to the crowd. She's about to hit. Bianca's about to hit her KOD finisher. Uncle Howdy appears in the entranceway to the arena where the crowd comes in, and this allows Bliss to deliver a DDT onto the floor, and these two just look at each other. So that was the end of that. Don't know where it's going. I guess I'm sort of interested, but not really. I mean, my interest level on the whole Bray Wyatt Alexa Bliss thing died when they died at WrestleMania 37. He just died for me. I was over it. Next up, Bronson Reed murders Akira Tozawa. Just murders him. Just puts him, just power bombs him under the barricade. Delivered a running shoulder tackle off the apron. Pushes him back into the ring. Bronson Reed hits the tsunami for the win, and just Bronson Reed destroys Akira Tozawa. I will not wait to see Bronson Reed in the fucking Royal Rumble. That's gonna be great stuff. Next up, you got Seth freaking Rollins backstage talking about his United States Championship match getting ready. And he says he's going to take the United States Championship to the Royal Rumble in San Antonio, win the Royal Rumble, and then kick Roman Reigns' ass at WrestleMania. So, it's interesting here. So, we got our main event here. Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, Finn Balor, Baron Corbin, 6-way number 1 contenders match for the United States Championship. So the first elimination goes to the Ziggler. Revert Ziggler. So Seth Rollins hits the stomp on The Miz to get his first elimination. The Miz is eliminated very early in the match. Next in elimination is Dolph Ziggler after Rollins catches him with a pedigree. Finn Balor is eliminated when Rollins hits a curb stomp onto Finn Balor, eliminates him from the match. Baron Corbin gets speared by Bobby Lashley. He gets eliminated there. Final moments in the match is where Omos and MVP come down here, basically giving Lashley the win here. Rollins curb stomps onto Omos, who's on the outside. Lashley catches Rollins with a spear for the 1-2-3. Bobby Lashley is going to next week's Raw in Philadelphia to face Austin Theory for the United States Championship. Overall, this was a fun episode of Raw. Next week's Raw, very, 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 very interesting Raw next week. So here's what we got rundown for next week. We got the legends appearing on the show. We got Road Dogg, Jesse James. We have X-Pac, Ron Simmons, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, the Bella Twins, Jerry Lawler, Teddy Long, who is, I blame him for Vince McMahon getting back into power, Kurt Angle, and WWE Hall of Famer The Undertaker will be in attendance. We also got the Bloodline Acknowledgement Ceremony, which whatever the hell that means. I'm very interested to see what that is. Very intriguing. Bayley, Becky Lynch, Steel Cage match. The Raw Tag Team titles on the line. Usos defending against the Judgment Day. Bobby Lashley challenging Austin Theory for the United States title. And I believe that's it. That's next week's Raw. Next week's Raw is very stacked. But yeah, I've been Matt the Misfit. This has been the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. Will see you back here for AEW Dynamite. AEW Dynamite should be a fun fucking show. I can't wait to see Kushida versus Darby Allin. That should be fun. But again, if you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment down below, follow the social medias. They're in the description. Follow all the other outlets where you can listen to this podcast wherever you go. I've been Matt the Misfit. Until then, we're out.